Have you lost that joy in your life? Well, if you're here today and you feel that way, first of all, we're sorry. We have been there before. But today we're going to talk about 4 things you can start doing today to reignite that joy. The fourth one of which is probably the most difficult. The first point is living in the present and not living in the past. Josh, why is it so hard to simply be in the present and live in the past, especially when you've maybe made a mistake or you've trying to overcome something really difficult in your life?
Um, you know, f- for me, for a long time, I kept looking in the rearview mirror. I hate saying it that way, but that's the reality of what the past is. There's a reason your windshield is so big and your rearview mirror is so small. Because you're supposed to focus on what's in front of you, not what's behind you. Your past is your past. You can't change it. There's nothing you can do about it, accept it, and move on.
You mentioned changing. You mentioned changing your past, right?
Yep.
I think part of the human condition is really kind of how we're built and wired is if you're working on a project and you don't get it done, the next day you can go back to it
Yeah,
and finish
absolutely.
it. Well, I think that we feel like when we've done something in our past, we can easily go back and finish it or fix it, but we can't.
No, you can't. It's not. So that's the thing. This isn't like an ongoing project that you can go back and retrace your steps and fix what you've done in the past. But what you can do is you can go back, retrace your steps, and you can look at where you made your mistakes. You can look at what it is that you messed up or what it is that I almost said it. I almost said the word failure. Okay. We don't fail. We learn life lessons as we go forward. Stop looking at things as failures and look at them as life lessons to grow from. It's easy to get in that past because you're set in your ways. Until you retrain your brain, until you start spinning your perspective around and looking at it from a different lens, you tend to fall back into old habits, and old habits die hard.
And I think sometimes too we focus on where we've done something wrong and we can't forgive ourselves. And
Absolutely.
until we go back and actually take the time to just say, you know what, I made a mistake. I need to forgive myself. There's freedom in that.
There's freedom in it because you're accepting. You're accepting the fact that you're the cause of your situation. That goes back to previous videos where we've talked about acceptance. If you want to start getting better, you need to start accepting who you are and what you've done. Because if you can't accept those things, you're never going to move forward. You're going to sit in that past and dwell in that wallowing self-pity moment and go, poor me. No, it's not poor you. Quit being sad about stuff. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, throw on your work boots, and get your ass out there.
So you can forgive yourself, and there's freedom there. There's a couple of things that you can do in the present to really be taking the next step to healing. Number
Or
one
to
is
being present. Like
to
you
being
just said,
present, right?
you need to
Yeah,
be present to start moving forward.
yeah.
You
And
got to stop sitting in that back seat going, all right, somebody else has got the wheel, and I'm just going to keep looking around out this back window where we've gone, where we've been. Why are you looking where we've been? Look at where we're going.
yeah, exactly. And again, forgiving yourself is a key to that freedom going forward. And again, they call it the present for a reason because it's a gift. So being in the present is really, and you probably heard that saying before, and a lot of
And
you
that's
have
why
out
I'm
there too,
smiling.
right?
For those of you who haven't heard it, you need to listen to it. Because every day that we have on this earth is a gift. It's not guaranteed. Tomorrow may never come. You don't know that.
Yeah, we think we have tomorrow. We don't have
I
tomorrow.
don't.
We don't have that guaranteed.
I don't have that thought. I had yesterday and I have now. I have the present that I can live in right now where I can start making changes and I can start making my life better.
And one thing that people can do to kind of pull out of that and reignite that joy is meditation and journaling. I don't know if you've done any research on journaling. There's a link in the description below talking about what you're really doing when you're journaling. When you're journaling, you're actually getting out your subconscious and everything is coming out so it's not up here stuck
Yep.
in your head.
It-
And it's an easy practice.
And you want to know something cool about journaling?
Have you done it before?
I've done it for years.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, when I was a kid, that's something that one of my counselors taught me. Is journaling is a great window to the past. That's what he told me. He goes, I want you to write every day in this book. I don't care if it's a sentence. I don't care if it's a word. I don't care if it's a paragraph. But every day I want you to date it and I want you to write in this notebook. And I started doing that, and over time, it kept getting longer and longer, and I kept having all these notebooks. And something crazy, when I was 32, I think, I went through my divorce. And when I moved back home, I happened to find this box. And it was a box of stuff that my mom had kept, and in that box was like 5 of my old journals. And I started reading through them, and I just started laughing at some of the stuff I was writing, because I'm like, I was stressing out about that. Like, thinking back to when I was like 14, 15, 16 years old and looking at the things I was stressing about, it's like, what the hell was wrong with me?
Well, I mean, those were all real to you, though, at
They
that
are,
time. And
but
anything that you're focused on right now, or where you're struggling right now in your life, that's real to you too. It doesn't matter what it is. And journaling, again, it simply pulls out the stuff that's stuck up here, and there's freedom in that, and it really does help you move forward. And again,
but
check out the link in the description around what it can really do for
it
you.
helped with my perspective. That's what I was going to end with. It's
Yeah.
just saying it helped me look back and go, why was I so stuck in that pit? Like, what was it that was so important back then that really didn't mean anything? And I think that's the thing that people need to start remembering too, is you need to break down what you're stressing over. Look at what you're upset about, kind of like you. When you came to me, you were looking at the wrong things. You know,
Yeah. And I was really focused on the past too.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You were stuck in that past looking at all these bad things, and it's like, why are you focused on that? Shouldn't you be focusing on the positive things in your life? Because if you focus on negative, your outcome is going to be negative.
That's right. Yeah, no doubt about it. And I was stuck there, and I was focused on the past, and I was anxious about the future too. And that's our second point: live in the present and stop worrying about the future. And I think when people start worrying about the future, again, that's point number 2. I think you're kind of forcing it when you're worried about the future. I mean, that's how I kind of felt. I was kind of forcing. I wanted something to happen. I was kind of forced, and I had anxiety over that.
Well, yeah, that's
Created anxiety in my life.
because you thought you had control.
Yeah, so true.
It is. The moment,
Yeah.
so something I want people to realize is there is a greater power. There is something out there that is directing everything. And if you haven't figured that part out yet, I hope you do soon.
And anxiety is borrowed worry. That's all it is. And there's a verse in the Bible, I love it. It's from Philippians, and it's, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything with prayer and petition, present your requests to God, and the peace that transcends all understanding will protect your heart and mind in Jesus Christ. And I think we're all focused on going for
hold
that
on, everybody.
peace.
I want you all to see something. Do you see that screen? That's his screen. It's completely blank. So one thing I love about this guy, and he's been trying to help me with it, and it doesn't stick. I've tried. For years we've tried this. This man can recite verses verbatim from the Bible without seeing it. Literally has it all up here. And you want to talk about frustrating? Yeah, I can't.
They're like weapons, though.
It is, and it's great that you do that, and I love that, and that's what I want you people to realize is some people can do this. I can't. My brain does not function that way to keep that. My brain is running 1,000,000 miles a second thinking about what's next. I'm already 10 pages ahead in this conversation, unfortunately. But no,
Yeah.
Bible verses are very important because the Bible is chronological history. If you go through the Bible, it is one of the only books in the world that is 100% true. They've never been able to prove a falsity in the Bible anywhere. They've tried.
Yeah.
They've tried to prove that it's not real history.
66 different books by who knows how many different people talking about the same thing, all some way, shape, or form kind of coming together.
They don't ever deviate far from the main story, even though somebody else is rewriting the same book.
No,
And
exactly.
That's not coincidence, folks.
No, it's not coincidence.
It's a good way to get a window to the past to help you realize what you should and should not do.
And again, I think for me anyways, the Bible, it builds trust. And again, and looking at point number 2 is not worrying about the future. You got to trust the journey. You have to trust the journey, right?
You can't worry about what isn't here. Why are you going to sit here, like we said in another episode, stress is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do but doesn't really get you anywhere. You can sit here and stress over your future every minute of every day. And all that's going to do is create nothing but headaches, hassle, and problems because you have no control over it. You can either do what's in front of you and follow the path that's been laid out in front of you, or you can take your own will back and do it yourself.
Well, what I love about you is, and again, you mentioned it earlier, so I'm going to bring it up. You mentioned you went through a divorce.
Yep.
Recovering alcoholic, 11 years clean.
Yep.
But you know what? You always have gratitude. When I talk to you, yeah, I call you every day. And by the way, it's right now. It's about 5:30 in the morning. We've been getting up at 4 o'clock to shoot these videos. Josh is a construction guy. I'm in the financial industry, and again, every time I call Josh to check in, first comment is "Hello, sunshine," which I love. It's so optimistic, and what a great way to greet people. But you always have that gratitude when I talk to you about your life. I mean, what do you say to me when I ask you how you doing?
Amazing, great, awesome.
Yeah.
Why? Because I am. It could be so much worse. My life could be so much worse. I look back to where I was 15 years ago when I was in the depths of my divorce. It was a mess. And it wasn't 15, sorry. 15 was the prequels to my divorce. And my divorce, to be clear, wasn't because our marriage was garbage. We just realized that we did not belong together. Me and my ex-wife are best friends again. Like, that's something too.
That's amazing.
It is. And it's through the journey of hope.
And redemption.
It is. Something that I'd like to share with y'all is in my recovery, it's been hard. But the cool part about it is my eldest is 18 and I'm starting to see the ripple effects of the things I've done in my life, good, bad, and otherwise. And my daughter constantly shows me, and this one might hit me. My daughter constantly shows me that I'm following the right path. And the way she shows me is in her actions. We were in Texas a couple weeks ago, just down there for a weekend to go watch some softball, and we went to a place called Terry Black's Barbecue. Amazing barbecue place. We had this amazing meal, spent a bunch of money, and we had a bunch of leftovers, and we're walking home from this, and I'm like, kiddo, what are we going to do with all this food? Like, we're getting ready to leave tomorrow. We have all this food. What do we do with it? And she just kind of looked at me and goes, why don't we give it to the homeless? And I said, well, that's a lot of money in food. She goes, but what are we going to do with it, Dad? We had the money to come down to Texas, spend a weekend down here, fly down here, go to a softball game. These people don't even have money for clothes. I said, you know what? I'm proud of you. Why don't we go back to our room, grab some extra food, and we'll bring it down. And we brought it downstairs, and we found this group of homeless people, and we gave it to them. And it was a proud moment for me as a dad because it shows that since I've made this change, it's not only affected my life, it's affected my kids, it's affected the people around me, and it's brought people like Rob into my life. And that is no coincidence, folks, because if you think there's coincidences, you really need to maybe put your nose in that good book.
And by the way, you cannot find that word in the Bible, coincidence. I've always said that before. So again, the gratitude thing, I mean, practice gratitude. I mean, you can walk, see, hear, and talk. Start there. I mean, that is a gift in itself.
It is.
And then really dig to find the other things in your life that you can be thankful for. Maybe it's your family member, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a simple fact that you have a house and you have shelter over your head. I don't know, but there are so many things in your life that you can do to find that gratitude, to not worry about the future and being in the present. So number 3 is, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit too, is finding your happiness in yourself and not trying to find it in other people. So you're laughing about this, but people very commonly go to, man, they don't even realize they're doing it, I think, sometimes. But versus really kind of focusing on your inner self, you're really focused on, I'm going to get it from somebody else. Why is that? I mean, what are people doing there? And you've never done this. Since I've known you, you always said, I'm not going to find my happiness from somebody else, right? You got to create your own.
Exactly. I think that goes back to what we've talked about with Facebook and seeing all these people's great lives and all the things they post and we're going, I want to be like them. I want that. I want that. Well, you're never going to get there if you're not happy with what's in here. If you can't be happy with who you are and what you've done and where you're at in life, you're going to live a life out of joy. It's going to be a joyless life because you are still serving into yourself.
That's right.
You're not serving into something bigger. Like, I can't stress this enough. The thing that's brought me out of the pit of despair is not me. I didn't do this. I just started serving into others. I started giving my free will away. And once I started giving my will away, things started changing in my life that I had no explanation for.
And that's really a way of loving yourself.
It
Right? When
is.
you're going out and you're actually serving other people, you love yourself for what you're doing and what, I would just say, what really God wants us to do.
The crazy part is For the longest time, I numbed my feelings. That's what I used
With
alcohol for.
alcohol?
Alcohol and drugs, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've smoked a lot of weed. I've done a lot of cocaine. I've done plenty of acid too. Those were the things I was involved in when I was a kid.
Mm.
Um,
You must
I,
have felt pretty lonely.
you know, when I look back and read some of those things, I did. I was isolated, and I isolated myself.
So,
Even though I was a
mm,
social butterfly. I was. I had friends everywhere, or people I thought were friends,
mm.
and my mom can tell you about stories of 15 kids showing up in this exact house, and my grandmother being in that kitchen over there cooking breakfast for 15 boys because we all showed up the next day hungover from partying.
You know what's crazy? You mentioned the number 15. So literally, somebody walked into my office yesterday and she said, "Hey, I'm reading this article." And she said, "Do you know that being lonely is like smoking 15 cigarettes a day? That's the impact it has on your body when you feel that lonely on a consistent basis." So I just think it's crazy that you brought up 15. I was going
Well,
to bring
if we
that
go back
fact
to
up.
the 50s and 60s, cigarettes were great for you. Remember? You could smoke in
Yeah,
hospitals. You could deliver a baby, and the doctor'd have one in his mouth while you're popping a baby out.
exactly.
Lo and behold, we've learned that they're big, giant cancer sticks that kill you. But
That's right.
that's
Yeah,
the thing about things in this world today. There's plenty of things that we think are good, and research proves that it's not.
that's right. Yeah, and again, seeking that external validation, that's not good. And you know what? It's temporary.
It is. It's a
It's
temporary
temporary.
fix for a
Yeah,
long-term problem.
it is. Yeah, and speaking of long-term problem, the long-term solution is really invest in yourself. It's a
Yes,
lifelong investment when you really come to realizing you're a good person. Go out and serve other people, like you said. That's a way you really, in my opinion, that's a way you find true love for yourself.
that's
You,
how
you
I
do
found
that.
happiness. I was actually having a conversation with a buddy of mine yesterday, and that's something that we were talking about is the fact that when you start serving into others, you start feeling a joy that you didn't know you had.
And it's
I
yeah.
didn't realize it till I went on our men's retreat and I was a candidate. Once I became someone who was on the opposite side of that, I started serving into 30, 40, 50, 100 men at a time. And I would do this multiple times. And the joy in I don't even know what else to call it.
Period. Just joy. Period.
But it was an energy. Like
Hmm.
that's I don't know how to describe that energy. That energy wasn't joy. That was something I've never felt.
Well, one of the best. So this is a fact, and I'll put a link in the description below. But basically, when you go and serve people, your brain creates a wave. It's called gamma rays. Or
Okay.
gamma waves. Sorry, gamma waves was a Hulk, the Incredible
I
Hulk.
was gonna
Just
say
for the record,
I thought that was the Hulk, man. I thought that's how he came about. But
it's
okay,
actually
you're smarter than me, I
gamma
guess.
waves, and they say that's the ultimate wave to have in your body, and it's no coincidence that you get it from going to serve other people, and that's the only way that you get it.
Really?
Yes, it's crazy. And again, I'll put the link in the description below. You can do some more investigating on that. But so go serve other people. That's number 3. Again, don't get your validation from others. Empower yourself and serve into yourself. And number 4 is, and this is the hard one to do, is trusting your inner strength and realizing that you're not as weak as you think you are. A lot of people struggle with this one.
I don't know, man.
Embrace your resilience. You've gotten this far. Talk to me.
I don't know, man.
Talk to me, Goose.
I'm kind of a sissy. I don't think I can make it out.
Talk to me, Goose.
You're absolutely right. I touched on this in a video before about in my industry, I get a lot of broken people, and I love broken people. And the reason I love broken people is if they've made it this far broken, imagine what they can do once they're unbroken, once they're no longer wallowing in that
And
place.
wallowing. That's what you mean by unbroken, the wallowing.
Yes,
Because we're going to be broken in our
yeah,
lives.
we're
Right? We're all
never
broken
quote
people.
unquote unbroken. I am
Right.
beautifully broken, and I thank the good Lord every day for
Amen.
it. Because without my brokenness, I wouldn't be who I am. Back to that quick conversation I had the other day. Someone asked me that. How did you get to where you are? And I said I just started being grateful for the things I had. I started looking at things from a different lens.
You had probably some self-doubt, too, when you were in that.
Boatloads.
Yeah. And
Boatloads. I
it's
constantly was beating myself up, coming from a divorced family with an alcoholic father, with trading times, with being a designated driver to a grown man. There's so many things that I had in my life that made me think that I wasn't worthy.
and
I
self-doubt.
wasn't good enough.
It's an inaccurate comment. And you know what? It's a lie. Self-doubt is often inaccurate. And again, if you're thinking negative things about yourself, it is a lie. Think about the opposite. That is truth. That is biblical. You are not weak. You are strong. You've made it this far. Keep going, right? Just keep going.
That's it. Every day, get up and say, I'm going to do this. I can do this. I got this. And put your boots on and get to work. And I don't mean go to your job. There's a difference. When I say get to work, I'm not saying go to that 9 to 5 that you're making money at. I'm saying get to work on yourself. Because nobody's going to make this feel better but you. Stop relying on other people to raise you up. You have your own 2 feet. You have your own 2 arms. Lift it. Let's go.
You can do this.
Let's go.
You survived every bad day thus far.
You've made it this far. Let's go.
You can do it. And again, we want to let you know that you're never alone. If you're coming to this channel, you're never alone. And what else?
You know, you need to find the beauty in the darkness. You truly do. Because if you're in that dark place, you need to find that tiny little light out there that's guiding you to something better. It's always there. You just need to open your eyes and look for it. And it may not be just your eyes. You know, God works in mysterious ways. And when I started closing my eyes and started using other parts of my body other than my ears just to listen.
What do you mean by that? Other parts of your body just to
my
listen?
heart.
I didn't know where you were going with
My
that.
heart, my brain, he talks to us, but it may not be vocal. He does little things to guide us every day. And you need to pay attention to what those things may be.
That's right. Yeah. And again, we want to let you all know that, again, we hope and pray that you find that joy. We hope this video helps you reignite it. If you've heard anything that's been helpful here, do us a favor. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Come back to this channel. Again, we're here at, again, 5:30 in the morning to come to you because we know what it feels like.
We've been there.
We've been there before. And the name of the channel, Finding Hope in a Suffering Society. We're here to help you find the beauty
in the darkness.
And again, you are never alone, and we love you.
Do we though?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. We love you. That's why we're up at 5:30 doing this. Just know that this is something that we're putting our heart and soul out there to you. That we want you to be better. The only reason we are here is to maybe shed a little light on some things that you're confused on, some things that you're struggling with, in hopes that we can help you be a better service to yourself. Not to anybody but yourself. Because you are in charge of your happiness, no one else.
That's right. That's right. If you want to hear a little bit more around how Josh took these 4 points and put them in motion to change his life and the others around him, take the time to watch our next video.